Hello, everybody. We are back now with
Hi.
chat. Hello, hello. How we doing, everybody? So today it is another edition of Hot Soup, and it's in fact a very special someone's birthday. So
Who? What ho?
I didn't say anything about a hoe.
I am.
Okay, geez, whoa. But yes, Bruja, happy birthday! Oh my
Thank
goodness.
you.
I know, very special. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
Very
I
cool.
did to see if people could guess my age.
Yeah.
The majority, they did not get it right. Not get it right. People voted 32.
Yeah. And that is incorrect.
I was
Okay.
so happy. I'm like, bet. I am 36 today,
Very nice.
which is wild.
You'll love to see it. Yeah.
Do
Very
we?
cool. 36? I mean, that's not. Hey, you look great for 36. So just keep doing what
Thank
you do.
you.
Absolutely. Very good.
No, but legit, because I had gotten very sick for so long. I'm more than happy to be 36,
Yeah.
regardless of how I look.
That is not bad. Yeah.
Mm.
Not bad at all. Yeah. No, I always forget.
I'm sharing our shit.
Okay. Share that shit. And we're not
You're
marked for
right.
kids now. So yeah. Share that
Woo!
shit. Share it. All right. But yes, so here we are, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this soupy nonsense. So
Soupy nonsense.
soupy nonsense. Here we are. So there was a recent kind of, I don't know if controversy or recent
Hullabaloo.
hullabaloo, a brouhaha, if you will, over
True.
a particular card, over on the Twitters. I believe it was at this point about 2 days ago. Jake and Joel Are Magic tweeted out that a tweet where they expressed disdain for the card Farewell, which honestly, fair. I think we've all had frustrating experiences with that card. If you're not familiar with Farewell, bless you. I'm jealous. It is a 6 mana sorcery, 4 white, and you get to choose one or more, just cause. Exile all artifacts, creatures, enchantments, or graveyards, or graveyards. So you get primo flexibility. You have an opportunity of blowing up basically every single thing except lands and planeswalkers, and it's just downright silly.
Yeah.
Downright silly.
It's so powerful.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And the thing about this particular card that I find interesting and something that basically the thesis of the tweet was the game is less fun because this card is in it. Which I think, it's like whether the card's good, whether the card's bad, I think we all agree it's powerful. There's no question about that.
Yeah.
But if the game is a better game because it has access to a card like this is the question. It's not a question of just like, if you're running this, are you a bad person?
Yeah.
Or anything. I don't know. The discussion spiraled out of control, and it became
What?
I know, on Twitter no less.
What?
So the conversation spiraled out of control, and people were name calling and being nasty and there seems to be these two lines drawn of people saying Farewell is like the greatest Magic card ever, and if you don't like it, you like eating babies. And the other side was like, Farewell is the most egregious nonsense that's ever existed. I'm quitting Magic and setting all my cards on fire. Oh, it's terrible. And like,
it's ruining Magic. I don't want to hear it.
Here's the fun part, though.
It's like every new thing that's ever happened is ruining Magic.
Mm-hmm.
Things have been ruining Magic for 30 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Magic? Yeah, exactly.
It's 30 years old. It's got to...
Yeah.
No matter what you feel about the changes, it has to.
Yeah. Everything changes. It evolves. It grows. It is part of the deal. It just is. And, there are plenty of situations, plenty of examples of elements that maybe people don't like. But yeah, that's really the bottom line. It's like, it changes, Yeah, it is not the Magic that you played, back in high school anymore. It's just not, and it never will be again. You could go back and play with those old cards, if you want, but it's not the bottom line anymore. It's not what we've got going right now. And that is what it is. But anyway, I found this discussion very interesting because a lot of people took it to mean the card is terrible and no one should ever run it under any circumstances. And in a follow-up...
he did say the card was toxic.
It is toxic. He did say the card was toxic, yes. In a follow-up video, Joel clarified, stating that the thing about this card that is so frustrating is that a lot of times people will just fire it off and then not follow it up with anything. And the problem is it allows the board to just get completely reset. All the progress and every game action that has happened up to a certain point is effectively null and void. Even the graveyard is gone. So the chances of any kind of rebuild is purely dependent on the cards in your hand and basically nothing else. And then because honestly, who runs Planeswalkers in Commander? Like there are the occasional Super Friends decks, and I've got like
why though? I'm such a crazy person, recursion player, that I will run things like instant speed, take my graveyard and throw it in my library. You can't exile it. I took access immediately, but I got all my shit back. It was a nightmare the first time. Wait for round 2.
Yeah.
I keep planeswalkers and I keep creatures that can't really be exiled and like crap like that because this exists.
Yeah.
Not necessarily this card, but because bananas ass board wipes exist. And I feel like enough people don't have a solid plan and follow up to make the board wipe an appropriate move.
And that I think is the key. Why are you using the board wipe? What is the board wipe accomplishing in this game?
Yeah.
You know, if your deck is primarily large payoffs and it's going to take you a little while to get there and somebody's getting in under you and beat the crap out of you with like a bunch of elves or something, yeah, you need to wipe that board just to survive. And then you can establish your game plan and you got a game still going. Yeah. The problem is when people are hell-bent, people have just kind of put stuff on the board and you've been playing for 2 hours and everyone's just a little tired. You know, and
reset,
and then everybody, and it's like reset. All right, yeah, it's like I'm gonna top deck into an empty hand. Farewell, pass. Like farewell, all modes, pass. Like that is ultimately the issue, and I feel like that is an issue. And is the issue this card existing, or is the issue people playing it incorrectly?
So, the way I see it is, I don't really believe that any card, for the most part, is inherently toxic. I think there is some appropriate way to play every card ever.
Okay.
That being said, I think threat assessment people can be very, very off. And it's a skill we all work at, we all need to work at, and I feel like we all need to continue to work at as metas change and things adjust. If you don't need to wipe everything, what is the strategic advantage in your gameplay to do a full reset of the board? What payoff is there for you? How quickly are you going to get the win after that?
Yes. Yeah, and exactly.
If you can't solidly answer those questions, maybe do something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't think Farewell itself is a toxic card. I may be saying that because I play this regularly, but this does not go in every deck with white because it is not appropriate for every deck with white, in my opinion. Orzhov has lovely board wipes that you can do single target one of everything if you're not comfortable doing something like this. White has stuff that will be pick one, artifacts or enchantments, you exile all, things like that. So it exists in like little amuse-bouches of nonsense.
Absolutely.
That you can always use instead.
Yeah. So
I run this in like Liaise of Forgotten Archangel. It's meant to be a Nightmare Exile deck. Like,
there you go. But yeah, no, you're right. There are plenty of other options out there. Like Merciless Eviction was the kind of gold standard for this kind of board wipe until Farewell got printed.
Quinn is in the chat.
Hello.
Quinn's gonna be on my channel tomorrow.
Ooh, that's exciting. That's gonna be a fun one. Hey Quinn, how are we doing? Good to see you.
Hey Sauron.
Oh, that's going to be a fun pod. I'll definitely pop in and check that out. But yeah, so Merciless Eviction used to be the gold standard in like exile board wise, but in that case you get
love this card.
It's a classic, right? And it's funny, it's easy to look at this and go, oh, this card is fair, this card is cool, I like this card. And then look at Farewell and be like, oh, F that thing. Like, it's so funny because they are very similar. The main downside here though
Farewell is so much more powerful.
Oh, 100%. It's not even close.
Oh, I think it would be slightly more balanced if it cost more.
Yeah. Well, because, Merciless Eviction being a 6, but you only get one of these modes. Also, notably, this one can hit Planeswalkers. Just putting that out there, folks. That's kind of neat.
Which is rare. There's not a lot of Planeswalker board wipe, which is part of the reason I love Liliana Dreadhorde General.
Yeah.
The amount of board resets I have done.
That seems real good.
Oh, see, I just realized I'm the problem. No wonder I'm in favor of board reset.
I mean, yeah.
However, I will defend myself in saying I always have a damn plan.
Yes.
It's either somebody ramped real hard real early and I happen to be able to cast something to fix a problem.
Yeah.
Not reset the board. I'm leaving your mana rocks if you're not playing Urza. Like
yeah.
But otherwise, it's fuck your couch and goodbye.
Right. But even then, you're doing it, like, if you have, like, Liliana Dreadhorde General is an interesting case for that. Because, like, yeah, if you have a Liliana Dreadhorde General online, and you wipe the board of everything but Planeswalkers, you now have a shocking advantage, and you are bringing the game to a close very quickly. Because now you have her ultimate kind of like this inevitable thing you're leading up to as you're just pooping out zombies all over the place. And so, the amount of things that are not affected by mass board wipe in general, unless you're running mass land destruction, that can allow for proliferation that, again, you can't get rid of it. Right. Yeah, I am a fan of Planeswalkers and the God Eternal cards. Ooh. If they're exiled from the battlefield, they go third from the top of your library. Well, the God Eternal cards and this beloved Ilharg. And then little things like, I'm pretty sure Eternal Scourge. I mean, like, and just stuff like that. Like, yeah. Also, started building things that could withstand exile because I'm such a recursion player and I'm such a graveyard player. So I knew inevitably people were going to be like, I Bajukaed and now your deck is shut down. It's not. I farewelled once and now I've destroyed your game plan. You haven't. Maybe that's why I'm not like that scared of farewell. It's possible. By the way, your mic's a little hot, just so you know. Oh, I'm sorry. You're fine. You're fine. Oh, anyway, but yeah, Kaya's Ghost Form I brought up because this is one of my favorite little pieces of like tricky tech that people don't expect. It specifically says you can enchant a creature or a planeswalker you control, which is great. And then when the enchanted permanent dies or is put into exile, you just return it to the battlefield. It just comes back. And so if you're doing, any kind of recursion action, so your Sunfalls, your Lurises with this, it's just absurd. And yeah, and so all of a sudden, exile board wipes are a little less scary if this is on something, because you at least have something coming back. And that's another one. If I have like some massive creature online, I put a Kaya's Ghost Form on it, and then I rip Farewell. That's a scenario where, like, okay, I have this advantage, and I've used this very powerful tool to ultimately, hopefully end the game, right? That's the dream. Farewell, and you have the new Ashiok from Eldraine out. Oh God, yes. To that right now. Do it. Oh wait, I have them in Liaison. Never mind, we're good. I already built it. Good. Yeah, Ashiok, Wicked Manipulator. This card is pretty good. I love this card. I have a little Moxfield Oathbreaker for them, but like, and I think kind of my point that I'm bringing up when it comes to like building around the exile is Farewell is not the first nor the only mass exile board removal and reset that exists in white specifically, or in general. Yep. And when it comes to Commander specifically, there's so many people that, and we all run all opponent situation cards, mass removal. Each opponent does something so that we could deal with it. So inevitably, we're going to run into a lot of exile board wipe. Sure. Well, yeah, and it's funny when you say that because yeah, targeted removal. It's wild how different card evaluation is between different formats, and in Commander specifically, you have cards. Like I mean, Thoughtseize is a great example of a card that in older formats, in 1v1 60 card formats, this card can be an absolute powerhouse and a staple. In Commander, this card is doo-doo garbage. It is a terrible idea. You're not going to want to go down a card to strip one player of one card, and you have to lose life in the process? Yuck. Like,
no.
It's because it only hits one opponent.
Right.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's really important to be careful with What now?
But one-on-one?
Yeah, one-on-one is insane. Or it can be insane, depending on the situation, depending on how good their hand is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, I don't know, it's a neat kind of exercise to think, like, okay, what is good in Commander? And as a result, in Commander, we all see more board wipes than we do in other formats. We just do. It's like guaranteed. And that's why, honestly, one of the cards that I think is going to be absolutely one of the money cards later on from Murders of Karlov Manor is Deadly Cover-Up. I think this card is going to see a ton of Commander play, and it's not because you can collect evidence and surgical attract somebody's deck. I mean, granted, there are going to be the times where you have the one Shadowborn Apostle player at the table, and you're going to blow them out, and it's going to be awesome.
There's going to be the chance that Doggo Dude is in the game.
And you're going to get those relentless rats, and you're just going to be
rats. Well, then he built persistent petitioners, and now he's got access to Slime Against Humanity, so he's just banned from the channel at this point.
That's what you got to do. It's funny, actually, I was playing this in Standard.
I'm seeing him Saturday.
Nothing but love for Doggo Dude, but yeah.
He's coming over.
Nice. It's funny. I did actually playing this in Standard on Arena. I was doing a goofy Slime Against Humanity brew, and I had like 3 Deadly Cover-Ups, and I went up against someone playing Slime Against Humanity, and their deck was literally like 20 lands, 36 copies of Slime Against Humanity, and then 4 of that like the Evolving Detective, and I literally just Deadly Cover-Up their slimes, and it's like, and your deck's gone.
Oh my god.
It was great. The number of clicks was very high, but yeah, there was a scoop shortly thereafter. It was
texted me this morning.
Anyway,
and said that he had just gone up against a Selesnya tokens deck, a Slime Against Humanity deck with O'Hare, what's his face, and Mondrak on the board.
That's silly.
And then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna build it," and I'm like, "Of course you would." And then the next text was, "Oh, maybe not. O'Hare's expensive." Yeah. And then I had the moment I have been waiting for this whole time.
And we're talking about O'Hare Talk, the white one, right?
Yes. Yeah. I pulled 2 O'Hare Talks.
What?
Full alternate arts. I pulled 2 of them.
Nice.
So I immediately texted him a picture, and I have Mondrak with no plan of building white tokens anytime soon. So I took a picture of them, and I'm like, well, not for you. It's expensive. No.
Aww.
No. I was finally able to give somebody the expensive cards that I'm simply not using.
That's exciting. Very cool. You'll love to see it.
It was like, it felt like that's my birthday gift to myself, is the yeeting a $20 card at my boyfriend and telling him to go build a deck I'm inevitably going to regret giving this him.
Yeah, I know. That's lovely. Very cool. But yeah, so the reason that I mentioned Deadly Cover-Up specifically is just that it is just at the bottom line on this, it's a 5-mana Damnation. Yeah. There are like plenty of Commander decks that do not have access to white, where cards like Damnation are just really stinking good. Yeah. And can be very, very, very powerful. Gozer, what up? And that's why Damnation is such an expensive card. That particular one we see all the time. And, there are plenty of, like, black and white cards. And, like, obviously, yeah, how much is Damnation going for these days? Yeah, it's like
I love Damnation.
Card, so. Yeah.
So, I love Damnation.
It's great. It's Wrath of God, but black. It's a very powerful card. It's kind of best in class if you are in black, like any kind of mono black scenario, or again, any kind of deck that just doesn't have access to white. This is a powerful tool. Well, for 1 mana more, Deadly Cover-Up is basically effectively the same thing. And I think that's excellent.
I'm a fan.
we're talking about board wipes specifically because they are kind of the easiest to get wrong. And
Yeah.
board wipes end
They're-
up being like they're a friggin' V8, vehicle that is so powerful, but if you don't control it correctly, people are going to get hurt. And so we did mention a couple of areas where they can misplay, and I'm curious, what other cards come to mind when you think of, the card themselves maybe isn't a problem, but it's easy to get these wrong and produce unpleasant experiences. Do you have any other ideas? I've got one that's kind of
We
obvious.
should have so many.
Yeah.
What's yours?
The one that comes to my mind is extra turns. That's the first one. The moment you start taking extra turns, you better be beating me on that turn, folks.
Yes.
Like, if you're gonna tee up like 3 or 4 extra turns, you better murder the table during that time.
More than one extra turn, or one extra turn per turn.
Mm-hmm.
Finish the game.
You got to finish the game. That's really the bottom line. You have to finish the game, and that's why, like, people talk about infinite combos being unpleasant in Commander, and the reality is nobody cares about the 5-card infinite that takes you, an hour and a half to set up. That's all fine. People like those. People like seeing those go off because then we can call it a night. And yeah,
people are like, I didn't even know you could do that.
Exactly. Those
Most
are
of
fun.
the time, you discover some nonsense.
Yeah. Those are neat, especially when the person doesn't even realize they have it in their deck, and they're just like, "Oh, wait a minute!" And those moments are great. I love being a part of those. And so, ultimately, finding that kind of actually, you know what? I'm kind of realizing that we're talking around it a little bit, but these are all problems that extend the game beyond comfort. These are moments that just take the game and make it last and last and last at a point when we're ready to be done.
Solitaire.
Yes. Yeah, it
'Cause,
can absolutely turn to solitaire.
If you have built a deck that is powerful enough to have gotten ahead of all 3 players and piloted it enough to get ahead of all 3 players, you've earned your win. Please take it.
100%. Yes.
Like,
Yeah, if you're outrun everyone at the yes.
if you have outpaced all of us, if you have outplayed all of us, take the dub.
Take the dub. Yep. That's why if one word of warning or one word of advice, encouragement, something I would recommend, if you are building a deck and you are intending to put an infinite mana combo in it, make sure you also have an infinite draw engine or something like an exsanguinate, something you can just dump that mana into to just end the game. Please, 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 please. Because there's nothing more awkward than having an infinite mana combo on board or having an omniscience on board and not having cards in hand. And it's just kind of like, all right, so if you top deck the thing, we all die, but if you don't, we all just sort of sit here? Like, it's very weird.
Yes.
So I highly recommend if you're going to do that,
That's
have
also
lots of
how I
draw.
feel. Yeah, it's also how I feel about decks with an incredible amount of interaction. And they're both exile style decks, but one of them is your stuff is mine, and one of them is no one gets anything.
Yes.
Which I have been in a situation with both of those decks where someone outplayed us. They outpaced us. They built a good deck. They piloted it well. Turn after turn after turn after turn. No one had anything on the board. All we had was lands. Like, the Shrines player didn't have shit. Like,
Yep.
and no damage was being done.
Yes. Yeah.
And I talked about this on Twitter, and people legitimately defended no win con decks that rely on your opponent scooping.
That's a miserable experience for everyone involved.
I will literally never respect that as a win con. Bullying somebody into handing you the win is so the reason we have timers and goddamn competitive. Like,
Yeah. There's a reason that, like,
there's a reason that win con is not allowed in competitive.
yeah. Well, and it's funny, you might say, like, oh, there's nothing stopping you from running Devious Cover Up, friggin' Stone Brain, decks in a competitive environment. It's like, well, the timer is what's going to prevent it from happening. Trust me, I've watched it. I've watched
to
people
win with it.
Yeah,
like,
I had to commentate a game where somebody had a Bant like Dirtle deck, and the first game took 40 minutes of a best of 3 match. And they ended up timing out and dropping 0-1 because they got absolute, like, and it was a feature match. And so, like, the whole time, like, I was trying to make that interesting. Ugh. Get out of here with that. It's ridiculous. Like,
And, like,
yeah.
And I'm not including games that I would stream in these discussions. I just want to put that on record because the decks I play off stream and the decks I play on stream are not usually the same. Not all of them are interesting to watch.
Okay.
Elvira is terrible to watch. It is so boring.
Really?
It does practically nothing. I really need to tweak it and make it faster, but for now, she just kind of fucking sits there. Because there's no life drain in blue.
All right.
There's almost none. And in black, it's not super easy to get stuff that you gain life from consistently. It's super easy to lose life to stuff consistently.
Yeah, and that's why Rowan is silly. But anyway,
There's no fairies, and I don't own a Maskwood, so...
Oh, yeah, Maskwoods are pretty important for that kind of thing, huh?
Very boring to watch, not fun. Abuelo is kind of like, borderline Staxy, not fun to watch the way I built it.
Really?
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, I just keep blinking the same creature over and over and gaining life, and you have to hit me with commander damage. Like, it's not really fun to watch, but in a 4-person pod, in person, it's usually keeps up with the table enough that I'm happy.
Sure. And people aren't mad that you're there doing
and people aren't mad about it because it's not, like, Staxy enough that I'm shutting people down. It's closer to Pillow Fort.
Oh, sure.
Like,
yeah,
Pillow Fort and Foggy with like a borderline stacks. Borderline.
Well, Pillow Fort's interesting because that idea of I'm gonna just be doing my thing over here, just don't worry about it. Like,
I really want to build a Pillow Fort deck because I really do, and this is not a positive play habit. I forget I'm in a game with other people, and I just want to build my little creatures and my little rocks. And I'm like, wait a minute. I have 17 enchantments in this deck. Slow down.
I love it.
Which
my goodness.
I don't even have 17 enchantments. And I will like, and I won't get mad if people actually blow shit up, but I will forget that I need to like do something other than amass food tokens with Gaiom.
I see no problem with any of this. Well, it's fun. Like, Ghostly Prison is a card that every time, like, I have like a dozen copies of these, and I'm never selling them or trading them to anyone. I need all of them. You don't understand. Like, honestly, every deck that has white in it probably has a Ghostly Prison in my collection.
That's one of those. That's one of those that, like, I could see this being in white the way that I pepper black into Conrad into black. It's like, I just feel like it just makes a deck with that color better most of the time.
Well, and it's funny because in this case, what this is doing is it taxes people for attacking you. Late in the game, when people have a lot of mana lying around, it's not a big deal unless they've gone like stupid wide. They can still attack through it. But in those early turns, when you're looking at turn 5 or 6, especially if you like ramp into it out on 2 or something, oh, it's great because it's just going to prevent people from attacking you just a little bit, or it's going to make it, all you need to do is just make it a little more awkward to attack you than your opponent. Yeah, that's all you need to do. And people will just be like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this. I'm going to send it over here. Like, that's what I thought. Thank you. And not that they can't hit you, but, and anyway, so you have Ghostly Prison, you have Propaganda, you have, there's I think, what is it? One of the mono white Baird, I believe, has an effect like this. New Tomic, if you're an Orzhov, has an effect similar to this. Like, it's just all kinds of things. Just it's.
I love them.
Yeah, that kind of effect.
I have some stuff in Liaisa because she's got a lot of thick chunkies. Angels inherently work very well with both of the Liaisa printings.
Sure.
So they're both in there. Liaisa, Shroud, whatever, has sustained me long enough to keep Forgotten Archangel out and win.
Nice.
Because I'm constantly gaining life, so this is nothing to me. Nothing. And all I need to do is punch things in the face. I don't actually need to cast a spell if I don't want to.
There you go.
By the time everything's on the board.
Yeah.
And she won me games because she stopped people from casting spells once they got under like 10 health.
Sure. Yeah, because people just can't afford it. Yeah,
Like
exactly. Yeah, no, thank
land
you.
and pass.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's interesting. Well, and the reason that I think it's fun to kind of look at that strategy is, well, how do you respond when someone has a whole bunch of stuff lined up and they have a bunch of ways to protect themselves and ping you or hurt you in the process as they sit back and protect themselves?
Farewell.
Boom. You need a sweeper. You need some way.
I'm so glad I said it immediately before you put it
I had
up.
it
Oh
queued
my
up, baby.
god.
Yeah, exactly. You need some kind of way to break up enchantments and creatures, and who knows, they might have a problematic graveyard. Like something like this can take those pillow forts that are otherwise, frankly, like indestructible because they have so many different pieces, and you have to answer all of them. So you need a big, efficient way to just sweep them all off the board.
Yeah.
If you don't have that, it's just not going to work.
This
And
card, like against my Liaison deck, it's in there, but
Mhm.
against my Liaison deck, I can't play it inappropriately.
right,
And I think that is an appropriate way to build Farewell.
yeah.
But if I play it incorrectly, I'm
Mhm.
screwing myself. I'm not just resetting the board and everybody's got to start over and we're all screwed. I am screwing the main mechanics.
Yep, it's easy
Because
to get it wrong.
all of the stuff freaking keeping everything exiled from opponents' graveyards is now gone.
Yeah,
Now it's just creatures, and now
yikes. Yeah.
I don't need storm players. I don't need recursion players. I don't need you. I don't need you people. And by you people, I mean me and all of my other decks.
Me too. Honestly, I'm at a point where if I'm building a deck, I'm going to find some way to take advantage of my graveyard. It is a resource. If I'm not using it, I'm doing something wrong. Every color can take advantage of it in one way or another. If I don't have access to it, I feel like I'm playing it incorrectly.
I really want to build white recursion.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
It's not hard either, by the way.
Raphael, Fiendish Savior, and it's like slowly and effectively as I'm able to get a hold of more cards for it. It's Rakdos Recursion, which I feel like is weird. It's a weird thing.
What's weird about that?
I feel like I never see it.
Why not?
I
have
don't
an
know.
Olivia Crimson Bride deck that's all about
Rakdos. Burn.
Okay. I have an Olivia Crimson Bride deck that's all 100% Rakdos Recursion. I love it. It's great. Yeah, highly recommend.
I mean, like, other than commanders that will, like, pull it immediately to the board, like, he doesn't pull anything. You kill it, but it's a lot of work to get crap back.
Yeah.
Unless I pull out a frickin' Olivia or Drana.
Right. Yeah, that'll help. Yeah.
So, but pulled some stuff in Karlov that helped.
I believe it. Yeah. But yeah, so no, I think white recursion is actually not that hard to pull off at all. Like my favorite recursion pieces in a number of my decks are cards like Sun Titan. Another one, if I'm in white, I probably want to have this guy because he's just great.
Or Elspeth from I'll be from Mom.
Elspeth from Mom has a
Archangel
Elspeth has a recursion mode?
Yeah, her little ulti ult.
Oh, the -6, yes. I forget these things. I haven't played against
this would be a fun Oathbreaker recursion.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, that could be fun.
This is fun. Good? No idea. Fun? Yeah.
Probably good. Probably good. That's one of the.
You slap people around with flying thick babes. Like,
I mean,
you got a good shot.
Thick babes. Yeah. All right. But yeah, honestly, like this card, there's so many strategies. So we're talking about kind of gameplay that can become problematic. And we need to just focus on what's fun. What is the goal that we're trying to accomplish with this game? It is to have an enjoyable time with the people at the table. Like, that is what Commander's for. It's a board game night with friends. And I think we need to be aware of what the other people are going to find fun. You know, know when to board wipe and know when to hold it. I've had plenty of games where I held onto a board wipe and I had the mana to cast it, and my likelihood of winning the game would have been improved by, more than 0 if I had ripped it and cut somebody out of the game. But I knew full well it was going to produce a less fun experience for everyone involved, including myself. Because clawing back into that game, clawing into that game just wouldn't have been worth it. And so I've
Yeah.
had plenty of times where I looked at the board wipe, it's like, I'm not going to cast this. And I've had games that were like at the 2.5 hour mark, and where I've seen other people at the table be like, all right, untap, upkeep, draw, and that's a board wipe, and I'm not casting it. It's like, thank you.
Yeah,
Even
no,
if I'm
like,
not the one who's going to win. It's like, thank you.
like I
Yeah.
there's definitely a difference when it comes to play experiences depending on your environment. When it's kitchen table with friends and it's the kind of game that like you're playing it because there's something to do
Right.
and the game will end eventually.
Mhm.
Versus I'm playing with friends and we're being like actually trying to win.
Yeah.
Versus I'm gonna slap the shit out of everybody and then CEDH.
100%.
And I think it's all about just like how social you want the game to be and the
Mhm.
pace. Because for me personally, the kitchen table side where it's really slow is there so I don't feel bad about not paying attention
Mhm.
and spilling tea to my bestie between turns.
There's nothing, 100%.
Because
And
when I go to the LGS,
Mhm.
I'm intentionally trying to piss off one of my friends. I actually bring a deck intentionally and I'm like, fight me every time.
That's pretty great. But yeah. So anyway, Archangel Elspeth I find really interesting because this is a card that like it creates bodies, it makes them better, and you get stuff back from your graveyard. Nobody's mad at any of those things.
It's so
Like,
fun.
You're not gonna make any like if you spend some mana, put a body on board, and then do something with it. Cool. Like no one is gonna have a problem with that. Like ever.
Oh, maybe that's part of the reason I like recursion decks. People typically don't have an issue
No.
because I'm destroying all my own crap.
Mm-hmm.
And once it starts going, it's obvious because all of a sudden I've like armied of darkness and there's 13 zombies on the board and take care of that. Take care of that.
Well, and I've had plenty of situations in which, if I'm playing my Ten of the Harvester deck, I've got a big board, I've got a big graveyard, right? And if I use Tyvar Jubilant Brawler to pull up and activate a Hermit Druid like that and put 20 cards in my graveyard, I'm sitting there with a friggin' 1/1 and a 1 loyalty Planeswalker and maybe nothing else. And people are like, we need to take him out. And I'm like, yeah, you do. Like, you are correct. I am the problem. And you know this. Like we can read these things, and that's okay. Yeah. So I think really the attitude that we take into those moments. Identify when you're the problem too. Another thing that I really dislike is when people are constantly. I mean, a little bit is fine. We all table talk, banter, politics. It's all part of the game. But when people are like, "What did I do? I haven't done anything this game. Why are you looking at me? Don't attack me."
Like when I do it, I'm being dramatic because 9 times out of 10 I deserved it.
Sure, and that's
and I'm just like, I don't understand why would you attack me.
What did I do? Yeah, exactly. Like when you're being
it's
a little,
like it's clearly being dramatic.
Sure.
However, the only time I get salty is when I'm like, what do you do? There is a threat on the board, and you're like, but you're open. I'm like, you can kill the thing.
Yeah, I get that. And like the attacks are one thing, like attacking certain people is like, I think combat
hilarious to me.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people don't realize like attacking it can be removal, and there are times when it has to be. I think a lot of people don't realize that, but it's like, oh, they have a death touch thing. I can't attack them. It's like, yes, you could, and
yes,
you'll kill the death touch thing.
Get rid of the death touch thing, yeah.
It's like, yeah, you totally can.
That was pretty much it. They could have killed the thing that was the issue at the time, early game, and instead made no effect on the game. Yeah. And hit me with the least amount on the board. And I wasn't like mad that they hit me. I was mad that they like ignored everything in front of them. I'm like,
and that's actually I think great point.
Because at that point, if I'm behind and everyone is leaving me alone, also leave me alone. Why? Not because I want to stay in the game, but because you could use me later when I finally build a board state.
Yes, make friends. It's valuable. Yep. Yeah, it is. And so, I don't mind politics. And I also think we should normalize attacking when you have a good attack. It's not, if I'm in a situation where, like, for simplicity's sake, I have, like, a 2/2, and 2 of our opponents have 1/3s on board. It's like, well, I'm going to accomplish straight up nothing by sending them at them. You don't have anything. You're not a threat to me right now, but I can have 2 damage on board. that I don't need to keep back to block for whatever reason,
Yeah, that
I'm
to
gonna
me
ping you for
makes
2 damage.
sense. You hit me, ping me.
Yeah,
That
we're playing a game, we're opponents. Like, that should be
the only
fine.
one you can hit that makes sense.
It makes
If
sense.
I'm
Do it.
getting, like if it makes the least sense, like I'm like, I got an arcane signet, go away.
But at the end of the day, though, threat assessment is the key. Identify what resources you have and what is the threat, what is the problem, can you deal with it? If you can help deal with the threat, it's probably correct to do so because it's going to create more parity and give you the best chance to win later. Yeah.
Also, I know everything I said can actually be a threat, but I'm talking in situations where it's like very obvious what's on the board.
Yes. And that's
before
actually
it gets crazy.
Well, and it's not even always on the board too, because like I'm saying, like if I'm playing against you, be aware of my graveyard. You need to know what's in my graveyard because that is my second hand. That is important. And there are plenty of blue players where the threat is the open mana and how many cards they have in their hand. That's an important detail because if a blue player has a Reliquary Tower down, rips a Silver Scrutiny, and draws 19 cards, they are the threat. Like they can have nothing on board, but you need to end them. Like,
removal.
You just need to do it because whatever's about to happen is going to be bad and you're not going to enjoy it. So, yeah, that's where the extra turn comes in. And that's, anyway.
I've committed bigger war crimes with 4 lands and no rocks on board than anything else.
Right. Oh, 100%.
Like, I've had to be removed from the game with sheer player removal with one person having creatures because I nether voided turn 4.
Oh my god. Why you gotta be like that? Why you gotta be like that? I'm over here taking pride in how many people I've hit with Door to Nothingness, and even I'm like, man, that's cold.
Look, it's in the deck that is not intended to be chill. It is intended to fight. The way the deck wins is it bums the table. I can drain one person at a time, but that is not the goal. The goal is to bomb the entire table.
Right.
So I don't need to. It's another one of those that at some point I don't need to cast spells. I just need the mana on board because it's Sir Conrad. Mill your ass out.
There you go. So I'm curious though. In the Rule Zero conversations, if you're thinking about bringing that deck, how do you approach it, and how do you ask the other players if they're cool with that? Because that's a very specific style. Yeah.
Yeah. I usually first I'll ask. What turn does everybody want to start popping?
Okay. Yep.
Because everybody is the scale of like strength is very subjective.
Sure.
So if there's something a little bit more like this is silly, data driven that you can actually track.
Sure.
I think it makes more sense. So I start asking, when do you want to get popping? And like, what turn do you want to win by? Kind of thing. And then from there, so if people want to start getting popping early because they want it strong, my decks can start popping early, but I will also slow the game down enough to win. Not that I'm gonna like shut everybody down, but
sure.
it's gonna be oppressive so that I can get ahead.
Right.
I make sure everybody knows that. I'm like, it's Sir Conrad. It's not meant for you to have a good time. It's meant for me to have a good time and then win. How we feeling? Or like Tiny Bones aims for you to have no card and exiles your whole graveyard.
Yeah. So
I have enough people that laugh and are like, "That's play whatever you want. That's hilarious." And other people that are like, and I'm like, "I got a food deck."
Now we're talking. Let's do that. Yeah. I love that.
Absolutely win and pop off, but it's mayhem to get there.
I love how you just described that because that's exactly how the Rule Zero conversation goes. Because like, okay, this is like mono blue stacks. How we feeling? I'll do food. You're good. Yeah. Like the moment you get that reaction, just kind of like, it's like, okay, understood. Yeah, like, and that's okay. It's like
sometimes people just don't have a deck that can counter the nonsense you brought, or they only have a deck that is direct countered by you.
Yeah, and a lot of the times in that kind of situation, if somebody's like, yeah, I want to play Grand Arbiter, I've got Winter Orb, and my whole goal is to just like stasis you out. My response to that is, okay, I'll let you play that, but I'm going to bring Yuriko and I'm going to try to blast you for 40 damage by turn 3. Are we cool with that? Like, you know, it's like, If we want to play that game, I can play that game.
Yeah. Be like, I got virtuous strength and Vorinclex up in this one.
Yeah, let's make it happen. All right, let's go.
We need to tap 1 land per turn. Let's go.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'm gonna try to match for your pace here, and we'll see who gets there first. Like, and that's fine as long as everybody's on board with kind of like. And there have been plenty of Stacks games where like I didn't have a deck that really matched, and somebody's like, okay, I'm gonna try to do. Is it cool if I do this? And the other 3 players, you know, myself included, basically just said, I mean, as long as you're cool with us, like, going really hard on you early. They're like, it's like, just know we're probably going to come after you. And
yeah, like, we're going to have to pinpoint you as the threat immediately.
Yeah, because, like, we know, and there's kind of an understanding. And once you get to that point where it's like there is enough stacks pieces where every one of your spells is going to cost you 4 more, and they just have a bigger board state, and you know, and they're just, like, drawing 2 to 3 extra cards every turn. Like, you get to that point where it's like, you don't have lethal on this board, but are we cool just calling it? You know, because like there's no way we can come back from this.
Yeah, it's gonna take too long, and I no longer care who wins.
Yeah, it's like you've done the thing. Your deck has proven that it is
like,
you know.
So we all did a thing. We all built a board state.
Yeah, we all got to do the thing. We didn't succeed in stopping you doing your thing, and your thing is gonna have us sit here. And most of the time in those situations, especially if the game's gone for an hour and a half, the general consensus is just like, yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, you got it. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with just amicably calling it and just having people, just letting people concede and just like calling it a day. That's okay. You have had a gaming experience, and a winner has been crowned, and you can move on to the next thing.
Although sometimes, player removal is one of the quickest things that could happen, and I have a story about the most fun game of Magic I've ever played.
Oh,
I laughed so hard; it was so absurd. Yargle equipment.
I mean,
the second turn that Yargle was out, he was a 25-25. It was like turn 4. The whole table was just gunning it for this kid, and he knew. He was hysterical laughing every single time he attacked, like, and this is an adult full-grown ass man. This wasn't like a 12-year-old. This was like somebody our age. I was almost in tears. My face hurt. Like, it was just, how did you get so big so fast, Yargle?
That's incredible. I love it. And equipment Voltron commanders can totally do that. It is wild.
Nobody runs enough artifact removal in their deck to deal with it.
Absolutely not.
Just like
it's just not a thing. Yeah. Well, no, I have a Brunor deck that I don't run very often anymore.
All those artifacts.
Yeah, I have a Brunor deck I almost never play anymore because like. I built it around Sunforger, so the goal is to pull these like situational spells out of my deck, all of which they draw a card on them, to protect my board and do all these fun things with Sunforger, which is neat. And then when you can re-equip the Sunforger for free, you're good to go. The problem is I always draw the freaking Colossus Hammer, and it just becomes a Hammer Time Brunor deck. And it's like, I'm not gonna take the Colossus Hammer out. It's one of the best cards in the whole freaking deck.
Yeah,
but it's just like
Spotify refuses to play any other song except like that one. Like you have 5,000 songs on shuffle, but it keeps playing the same 11.
Yeah, and it's like I don't, when it's just like you want to listen to
so many choices, please.
It's like you want to listen to Tub Thumping again. It's like no, not really. I mean, it's a good song, but I'm good. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
I love it.
I'm trying to remember. I'm blanking on that band's name. Chubbawamba. Thank you, Google. Anyway, yeah, I love me some Chubbawamba.
So, this weekend I'm having a birthday party.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of creators are coming because there's a whole bunch that live within like a couple of hours of me.
I'm super jealous.
Mr. Dude is coming. Miss Eldridge is coming because she'll be in town from Dallas visiting her partner Chris Von Doom, who I'm buddies with too, and like all these people, and we're all going to play Magic. The war crimes that are going to be committed in this house, Yawgoth's coming.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Like, we're screwed. We're screwed.
Potentially, yeah.
We're screwed.
Potentially.
So I really wanted Dominus Rex done by then, but I figured I bake my birthday cake, right?
Mhm.
So I figured because it's gonna be a spicy day of magic for a spicy weirdo, I needed a spicy cake,
Sure, that fits.
right?
Yeah.
I'm just realizing it's a Rakdos cake. It's a
Okay.
Rakdos cake. I will explain. It is a cayenne chocolate sponge cake
Ooh. Okay.
with a chocolate ginger chai buttercream and chocolate ganache filling.
Huh. That seems really good.
It's quite spicy.
I believe it.
It's pretty good. I'm nervous it's too spicy because I love spicy food, so I feel
Sure.
like my palate's definitely skewed.
Nice. No, that's fun though. Yeah, that sounds like a way to, keep me from eating, a fourth piece of cake. It's just like if it kind of burns a little.
Right.
Like,
I'm
okay.
gonna try to make some cupcakes also for
There you
people
go.
who don't like spicy food or
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
I
That's
don't
very sweet.
want people to think because like they don't like cayenne frickin' pepper in their chocolate that I like am gonna give them like something not homemade then and like be
Right.
like,
Yeah, there's a
you
box of
you
Oreos
can-
over there. You just do your
yeah,
thing,
you
I
can
guess.
have Oreos. Like first of all, those
Nothing-
are out as an hors d'oeuvre.
There you go. I'm about to say nothing but love for Oreos, but like it's not a substitute for birthday cake. It's just not. Yeah.
It's not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it is.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's my Rakdos cake.
I dig it. That's pretty fantastic.
Oh, I should name it after Judith.
I mean,
It's my Judith cake. Done.
that makes sense.
Done. I pulled 2 of her!
That's exciting. So I'm curious, so I've heard mixed reviews on this card. I think the general consensus is people think it's cool, but is it good?
I think it's fantastic.
Okay.
If you're playing any creature deck whatsoever, this is amazing. This is the funniest thing you could do.
Honestly, one of the things that I love, so Judith, Carnage Connoisseur, if you're not familiar, 3/4 for 3, black, red. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you choose one. The spell gains Death Touch and Lifelink, which, damn. Or you create a 2/2 red imp creature token with, when this creature dies, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. It allows you to run crap like End the Festivities in Commander?
I run this in Commander
You
often.
do?
I do. And I will tell you why. 2 words for you. Scoot Swarm.
And?
Fuck your tokens. They're all 1/1s. Goodbye.
But then
Bye.
that's when they bring it back with Dollhouse of Horrors, because they're running Scoot Swarm, they better have Dollhouse of Horrors.
Okay,
Yeah.
I have more removal.
That's exactly, yes, Quinn, yes, she's so cool and strong and will get hated off the table immediately and repeatedly. That is accurate. I think that's fair.
I love this because the best part is you could just not just, but maybe you don't want to have a creature deck because if she does trigger off instances and sorcery, she's making tokens. You can self-perpetuate and build Rakdos tokens is hilarious.
Sure.
Hilarious strategies.
Well, and how many red, just cantrips are there that are just cheap and just draw you cards as you go? Your War Leader's Calls, your Ancestral Angers, all that stuff. I mean, I'm just realizing how I want to play this. I think I want to build Judith and have it be like a secret Zada deck. With Zada in there and just use Judith to poop out a whole bunch of imps and then just Zada smash and go crazy. Oh, anyway.
My friend that's coming to my birthday party this weekend built a Zada deck for one of our other friends whose birthday was earlier in the month.
And
he tells me this today, and I was like, dude, why would you say this to me on my birthday? What the fuck? Why are you being so mean?
Yeah. So Zada Hedron Grinder, if you're not familiar, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Zada, Hedron Grinder copy that spell for each other creature that it could target. And each one targets a different one. Now, the copies don't trigger Judith, because Judith only triggers on cast. I want to make that abundantly clear, so we're not it's not going crazy stupid, exponential on itself. But even so, now that said, if you have Magecraft triggers like a Stormkill artist, those go off, and that gets stupid. But we're not necessarily worried about that here. But you can have it so that you make the imp first, and then the Zada trigger happens, and so, yeah, it can get out of hand really, really fast, where you end up with a ton of those effects, and when you're using those effects that draw you a card, you're drawing a card for each one that happens, and when you're refilling your hand with more little things. If you've never played against Zada, the game ends real fast when Zada hits.
I hate Zada. I hate Zada. It's not like I'm necessarily salty. It's one of those, like, I'm not mad about it. I just don't wanna.
Here's the opposite. Zada is the opposite side of what we were discussing previously. So with the board wipes, you know, being kind of abused, or the even pillow fort kind of strategies or extra turn strategies getting abused and just kind of stretching the game longer and longer and longer and longer, you have cards like Zada where if the opponent just builds up an army and like then Zada drops and it's like Teamer Battle Rage and like one buff swing out, the game's over. And you have the opposite problem where it just ended so fast. It's like, why'd I bother shuffling my cards and even showing up? I never got a chance to actually do anything here. And it's even worse when you look at your hand and there's all this potential, you know, for all the things that you could have done. And it's just like, oh, and
okay.
And I just didn't get to do any of them.
Yeah.
And so it's a feel bad on the opposite side of that spectrum. And that's also where you see, like, when people talk about hating infinite combos, it's like, they're talking about Curiosity Niv, or Walking Ballista Heliod.
I hate infinite combos when they take forever, and I don't know they're gonna take forever.
That's fair. There are plenty of combos out there.
Just want to go to the bathroom and get a snack, my guy. How long is this gonna take? Just give me an update. Timelines.
Yeah. Timelines. There are effects like the Dualcaster Mage loops. I don't know if you've seen where like somebody has a Dualcaster Mage with other. I'm trying to think of some other option. Anyway, there are a lot of effects where you end up creating a whole bunch of tokens.
Yeah.
And like the number of times that you will sit through and watch somebody go through one of those loops, because it's kind of a non-deterministic thing. It's like you have a whole bunch of tokens, but do you have a way to give them haste?
Yeah.
Because like if you don't have a way to give him haste, maybe I have a sweeper and it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But if you do have a way to give him haste, and that shows up at the end of all your damn loops, like, and maybe it'll show up and maybe it won't, then you have a situation where we're all just kind of sitting around just waiting for you to get on with it. And I mentioned Dualcaster Mage because there was a Dualcaster Mage with, the name of it, there's a Simic card. It was in an older form. It's in an older format. It's not in Commander specifically, where you just create a whole bunch of Dualcaster Mage copies. The name is escaping me for right now. I want to say Bioshift, but I don't think that's right. Anyway. So, in any event, those kind of combos are fun. They're neat, but they take forever. Or they often take forever. And you gotta be aware of that. You just do. Anyway, it's a Simic card. It's very dumb. But anyway. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, the
cool. Well, yes.
Yeah. Well, okay. You just say Simic, and that you shouldn't even need to say anything else.
I mean,
Neostorm. Neostorm. Is that it? I trust Quinn.
That's probably Neostorm. Yes, the card is Neostorm was the deck name. That's right. And yeah, Neoform is the card. Thank you, Quinn. You rock. That's exactly what I was thinking of.
When I say I trust Quinn, I would like to make it known I do not trust Quinn. And I will tell you why. When the Lord of the Rings set was coming out, this one over here, multiple occasions, posted cards you could commit war crimes with, and said, "I am normal and I can be trusted." No, not.
What are you talking about? I think Quinn's fully above board. I don't see a problem.
One of them was Shadow of the Enemy, which may or may not be in my Sauron deck for tomorrow.
Okay. Wait, Shadow of the Enemy? Shadow of the Enemy is a card that I want to love, and I just hate it. It's so close to being perfect. Yeah, the Neoform Dualcaster combo was the one I was thinking of. That's exactly it.
Quinn.
Yeah, that's the one. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so Shadow of the Enemy is a I don't know. Exile all creature cards from target player's graveyard. Thanks, I hate it. And then you may cast spells from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may even attempt to cast them. So yeah, you just steal your opponent's creatures out of their yard, and they're just yours now. When you cast them, you're just drawing your opponent's graveyard. Kind of.
Yep, that's in my Sauron deck.
It's very weird. If this was an instant, I would like it so much more.
With Breach the Multiverse.
Okay.
And Shadow of the Enemy. And when I can get a virtue, you know it's going in there.
With Breach the Multiverse, there's a card from Karlov Manor. I almost said Markov Manor. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be that guy. And by that guy, I mean most people who talk about this. There is.
It's easy to confuse, but I keep doing it too.
Yeah, they're, BS fantasy names with Av in the end. Reenact the Crime. Are you familiar with this card? May I recommend it for your Sauron deck?
Yes.
Okay. Exile target non. I'm sorry?
I think it's in there.
Okay, good. Yeah, exile target non-land card in a graveyard that was put there from anywhere this turn. Copy it. You may cast a copy without paying its mana cost, and it's an instant. So if you... The thing that I've done with this is breach the multiverse into the new Sphinx that lets you like free cast crap and then free cast this, hitting your breach the multiverse again. Like, it's dumb. Anyway, if your opponent has like,
I have sorcery and instant recursion in this deck for it, so
it's real dumb, and it's any non-land card. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. It's absurd. This card is silly good. So yeah, mono blue Steel Yo crap is absolutely a viable archetype these days, and I'm here for it. Yeah, definitely here for it.
Which I love and hate, and the reason I hate it is because I don't know if it's true that it's the most ways I've lost a game, but it feels true that it's the most ways I've lost a game is to my own cards. And I'm like, guess I built a good deck.
Yep. And they're making that even easier these days. There were so many ways.
I pulled two of those. One of them immediately went into Indominus. The other one immediately went into Sauron. And I'm going to look for more. I love this card.
Outrageous Robbery. It's
I love it. I ran it during pre-release. Oh.
It's real good.
That was the one round I won.
It's real good. Yeah. Nah, super fun. So yeah. But yeah, so with that, we have been live for about an hour. We are going to need to get going because you have a long night ahead of you over streaming over on the Twitches.
It is my birthday, so I'm doing my birthday stream starting at 8 p.m. and we're doing D&D. And then after, normally I would be doing Baldur's Gate because it's D&D night, but because Markov, see, Karlov Manor just came out. Because Karlov Manor just came out, we're going to be playing Magic instead. And see how upset I get by getting confused by disguise and cloak.
Okay, good luck with that.
And forgetting how evidence work. Actually, I'm enjoying collecting evidence. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I do.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
But I haven't been playing it in Golgari, so.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay, before we go, just one last thing. Yes. Have you played Insidious Roots yet?
I haven't played it on paper, but I pulled the alt art for it last night.
Oh.
And my boyfriend didn't know what I was looking at that I had an absolute meltdown over.
Holy cow.
I lost my mind. And silly enough, my most tokeny deck.
Yeah.
The Mimeoplasm deck that I have slowly building, and I pulled 4 Slime Against Humanities and Insidious Roots. Let's go! It's officially on the deck and on the desk in queue.
That's amazing.
Let's go.
Insidious Roots. This card, I played this card for 5 hours on stream, and I'm still not done with it. I love it so much.
It's so good. It's so fun.
In Standard, I'm using this Tyvar, Agatha's Soul Cauldron, and the Serpent. The Viper that lets you reanimate stuff.
That sounds fun.
It's grotesque. I love it.
It's fun.
So much fun. So anyway, this card is an absolute bomb and a half. We don't need to get into it too much. Card good card. Anyway, so and it's Golgari. So anyway, we're gonna go ahead and bid you all a very fond adieu. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We'll be back next Thursday and tonight over on Brouhaha Gaming on Twitch. There will be all kinds of fun stuff happening. So I will probably be in the chat talking smart.
Do a giveaway of what? G Fuel. Which one? No idea. I got a few.
Groovy.
Maybe The Witcher.
Ooh, the Witcher box.
Which I kind of don't want to because it's black currant is the flavor, and I really want to try it. So I may just have to. Get it other. Well, I'll just get the flavor otherwise because it's all the. Whatever. They'll see it later. Come to my stream.
Rock on. Oh yeah, more information on that later. All right.
PM Eastern.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Later.
Bye.